There have been varying schools of thought on the engagement of or non-engagement of mercenaries in the fight against Boko Haram. The recent murder of over 43 farmers in Borno State directly addresses the vulnerability of the nation's security architecture, and even more disturbing is the fact that Nigeria's military officers have continued to die in the hands of insurgents who are fighting an unconventional war with the state. Well, joining us now to speak on whether or not engaging mercenaries to fight this war is the best way forward is security expert and war veteran, retired Air Commodore Abayomi Balogun. Thank you for joining us. A very good morning to you. Adesua and I, before we came to this part of our show, we were talking amongst ourselves on the fact that there is an undeniable need for all of Nigeria's security apparatus, starting with the Commander-in-Chief, President Muhammadu Buhari himself, to really step up and make the public feel as though they are being protected at a time where so many civilians are falling prey to Boko Haram. We've had this conversation over and over and over again. So here we have a topic of mercenaries. Do you agree that they have a place in this fight against Nigeria's insurgency issues?
Yeah, thank you very much. It's a pleasure being here. The issue of mercenary, I think, is being misunderstood by so many people. A lot of people have interpreted mercenaries in different ways, and most times it's the negative aspect that we see. If I can take us back a bit, mercenaries are people you engage to do what you cannot do, or where you feel you needed help. But the word mercenary all over the world initially was negative. But then they have changed it. It's no more mercenary, it's private military contractors. That is the new name for mercenaries. You hire a contractor to do your biddings. Whatever you want a contractor to do for you is what he will do. And they are not bothered about other things. They are concentrating on the task you have given them. In military, we call mercenaries soldiers of fortune. That is people who fight solely for money or reward. So you either pay them in cash or you use other means of payment, but they will get your job done. So when we are saying, do we need mercenaries in Nigeria? I will say yes for now, because we seem to need help. So it is help we need, and they have been here before, and we work with them elsewhere. And it was good combination of our local resources and their foreign expertise. So I would say we do need help. We may not be calling them mercenaries, but we do need help at this stage of the campaign.
And you talked about the negative interpretation that this has been getting. Do you think anyone should see the hiring of these paid contractors, as you say, as an indictment on the Nigerian military and the administration, which came into power promising Nigerians that insurgency, insecurity would be handled?
Yeah, I don't think we should see it as an indictment, and I don't think the government should look at it as a sign of weakness, because America, the biggest military power in the world, still use mercenaries. They don't call them mercenaries, they call them private military contractors. For example, they have a company called Blackwater. They were all over the place, in Iraq, in Iran, in Afghanistan, in Yemen, in Libya, helping the military to do their biddings, to help them to achieve what they have to achieve. So if America can engage such private military contractors, why not Nigeria? What is bad in it? Do we have all the capabilities? Are we self-sufficient in all angles? I think it is no. Even when Nigeria was in ECOMOG, where we were fighting in ECOMOG, there was a private military contractor called Pacific Architects and Engineers. They were Americans, and they were sent by Americans to support the armed forces and to support ECOMOG. We didn't see them as mercenaries then. because they were supporting us. They gave us all the requirements that we needed to succeed in Liberia and Sierra Leone. So, if we had worked with them in the past, I don't see any reason we cannot work with any group of people who wants to come and help us achieve peace and stability in Nigeria.
Do you think, though, in you saying that, do you think it's been received perhaps by people in charge as an admission of failure? Do you think that still there's a level of sensitivity people may feel by saying, do you know what, we do need help, perhaps our intelligence isn't as strong as it is? If we look at this recent killing of 43 farmers over there in Borno State, again, it just shows itself as another huge lapse of security. And I wanted to direct you to the governor of that state, Governor Zulum. He had released his own recommendations on the way he believes insecurity in the Northeast should be tackled. If you could shed some light on that.
Okay, let me take you back again based on the governor's wish. Because he was there when Nigeria employed some private military contractors to help fight the insurgency in the Northeast. And at that time, what did we have? We were winning. We were winning until the winning streak was cut short. And then we didn't make further arrangement to sustain the winning, and that's where we went back to where we were, or where we are. So if the governor having the hindsight of what had happened in the past, the elections in 2015 was basically achieved because there was relative peace in that region. People could move freely. And that was when we were winning, and that was when we now said we had technically defeated Boko Haram. Yes, we were winning. But then, did we sustain the winning? Now we should go back and say, if we were winning then, what went wrong? Why are we no longer winning? What was the tactics adopted at that time that ensured the winning? So, I'm guessing that he thought back and said, what were we doing then? Because we had help. That was why we were winning. So why don't we seek for the same help and continue the winning and finish these endless killings? I think that's why he said so. And I will support him because I think we need to change our approach. Yes, mercenaries could be from anywhere. You can even have your homegrown mercenaries. You don't call them mercenaries. You can have security companies with your own people. The company that was in the Northeast, SCTEP, was initially called Executive Outcome. The Nigerian Air Force in 1995 fought with these guys in Sierra Leone. And they were successful, we were successful. And when they came here, yes, we saw it, they started winning. But who were these guys? They were retired soldiers. From Namibia, from Zimbabwe, from South Africa. So the company kept them together, ex-soldiers, ex-military men, and turned them to a company. And in Sierra Leone, I know the IMF was paying them for that. So Nigeria, we've had so many generals retired, we have so many brilliant people retired. They are there, idle, with intelligence. We could engage such people to also help. If other countries like the Americans, that's what they do. If you retire, you don't just go, like they have trained you. They have spent so much money on you. So they re-engage you in a private arrangement. And you are there. They were here in Nigeria as MPRI. They were here training us. They were giving us advices everywhere. So while now that we have a lot of retired people who are homegrown, why can't we engage them to help in the war against insurgency?
Well, you alluded to the gains of the technical and logistical support from foreign contractors during the twilight of the President Jonathan administration for us to be able to conduct that 2015 election that brought in President Muhammad Buhari. Are you saying it was a mistake by this administration to terminate such contracts or not, adopt such measures? And given your military experience and understanding of how these paid contracted fighters operate, would you say that will change the tide against insurgency in Nigeria? Is that the silver bullet?
Yes, of course. Because I won't say it was a mistake. I will say it was lack of strategic thinking. Because you must have a replacement for everything. If you are taking something out, you must replace it with something else. So, when we decided, yeah, we could do it by ourselves, did we put the structures on ground to take over from those guys when they were leaving? No. Because what they were doing is something Nigerians could do. Did they come here with F-16? No. Did they come here with Tucano that we are waiting for? No. They came here with basic equipment, but they had the will to achieve because they are being paid to do the job. So, when we took them out, we should have replaced them with, there should have been an alternative. The alternative was not there, so the space was left void for Boko Haram to re-energize themselves and continue the onslaught. But while we were taking that decision to send them away, yeah, it could be diplomatical, it could be any reason for sending them away. Yes, the guys that took the decisions know why. But what I felt was that there should have been an arrangement to fill in the gap rather than leaving the gap empty. So, if it was the winning streak that time that was achieved by these guys, can we replicate it? Even with homegrown, I believe we can. If we just sit down and think of what we need to achieve what we desire.
Indeed. Well, I mean, this conversation has frequently touched on the need for collaboration, almost saying that the more the merrier, or as many hands on deck will definitely help out what we're facing here in terms of Nigeria's insecurity. In light of that, I did want to ask you about what you thought of foreign fighters joining in this fight. It's well enough that we can talk about mercenaries already here in Nigeria, but do you think the time has come for Nigeria to cast its net a little further wider out of the continent towards perhaps Europe, towards the United States and other countries for more support in this fight against insurgency?
Yeah, thank you very much. What you have said is so vital because the whole world, insurgency or counterinsurgency is not a one-man battle. It's an all-inclusive approach. Even Americans, the big countries, when they want to go and fight insurgency, it's a combination of everybody. It's not one way. You cannot do it alone. Everywhere they've been, they've gone with coalition of forces. So we also require people to come together and help us. We should stop being arrogant, thinking that we can do it. No, we can't do it alone. It's a West African problem, it's an African problem, it's a world problem, because if anything catastrophic happens to Nigeria, the whole world will suffer it. So everybody must come on board.
We have to interrupt you there, retired Air Commodore Balogun. I'm so sorry to have to do that in the middle of your point. It is time for us to take a very short break, and once we return, we will continue on with our conversation on the plight of Nigeria's insecurity with Air Commodore Abayomi. Please do stay with us. Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. We're still joined by war veteran and retired Air Commodore Abayomi Balogun. Thank you for staying with us. I know that before we went on break there, I wanted to ask you your thoughts on perhaps Nigeria tabling the conversation on having more international support and intelligence when it comes to fighting this war on insecurity, most especially in the northeast of the country. We did interrupt you there. If you could continue on your point.
Yeah, thank you very much. What I was saying was that the worldwide, the approach to counterinsurgency is not single. It's a multi-pronged approach because you must get support from everywhere. And fortunately, in 2019, there was a document that was signed by the president. It's called the National Security Strategy, which says that to ensure the security of lives and property in Nigeria, the task is no longer to be consigned to the armed forces and police alone. That it is an all-inclusive approach which should include everybody, the military, the MDAs, paramilitary, the traditional rulers, the religious leaders, NGOs, even individuals are enjoying to be part of it. A very, very good book. But then, who executes it? We normally write good books, we bring out good papers, but what do we do with them? We throw them away. The armed forces have a document called Joint Defense Doctrine. The Joint Defense Doctrine says that all military actions will be combined by all the services. Are we implementing same today? Yes, you hear on newspaper it was a joint operation. I don't consider what is happening now as joint operation. They are only joint operations on paper. They are not joint operations in action, in activities. Because if it is joint, I will not hear Army has done, I will not wish to hear that Army has done this or the Air Force has done that. I want to hear and see the armed forces of Nigeria have done this. We have achieved that. That was what we did in ECOMOG. We were the armed forces of Nigeria. We were not Air Force, Navy, or Army, like what we have here. So we must go back and say we have done these things in the past and we did it well. We were acclaimed worldwide. What went wrong? Then go back and say, what did we do right? What was the tactics? What was the approach? Can we revisit such things and see how it can help us today? Can we go back to what was happening when we were winning and see how we did? And the tactics that was adopted then, can we remodify it and apply it and see how it goes? But then, since then, we've been fighting the same pattern, the same way. Boko Haram started as a terrorist group. They were terrorizing us. They were bombing everywhere. But gentlemen, today, I don't think they are terrorists like that anymore. They don't bomb anyhow. They don't use suicide, but now they take the battle to us. Why? They are now emboldened. They are now so emboldened that, so if you tell me that you are fighting asymmetric, you are this, no. The situation on the battlefield should determine what a commander does. Yes, if they are bombing you and they are using IEDs everywhere, you counter it. But when they step up like they have now, also you need to step up. So I think it's an all-inclusive thing that everybody should feel the need to support the members of the armed forces in achieving peace and security for Nigeria. The president has said so. We should implement it.
Indeed. Oh, yeah, some germane questions there, but most importantly, what went wrong? And that brings me to my next question. Recommendations on how best to end the insurgency are not in short supply. Some say we need more boots on ground. Others say it's the lack of funding, intelligence, and low morale of the troops and technology. But there are those who also are now calling for mercenaries. Though some are saying we need to ease out the leadership of the security architecture in the country, the service chiefs. When you look at all of these, I need to ask you, as a security expert that you are, what, in your own opinion, is the best approach to ending this monster called insurgency 11 years after?
All right, thank you very much. It's mine take. We must go back and sit down. If you withdraw in battle, it's not a defeat. You can withdraw and replan and then come back. Because we need to re-strategize. We need to rethink our approach. Now, if we go back to that time we were winning, what tactics were those guys applying? It's mobile composite warfare. Mobile composite warfare is where you conduct military operations with some few good men with the right equipment and intelligence. That's all you need, and you will achieve. Yes, the other issues about lack of not enough boots on ground can be catered for if you employ or you embrace technology. With good technology that is available now, you will do a job of a battalion with only 5 men. You don't need too many people. When you think that the technology is there to assist you, and it is there for the asking, just ask and say, identify what you need and ask for it. It will be provided. You should provide. I think we are not thinking that far. Because the last time they killed those guys, the farmers in Maiduguri, yeah, people say it's 23 kilometers out of Maiduguri. For now, Maiduguri is our center of gravity. So everything around Maiduguri should be protected. There are equipment that will not allow anything to happen to you 50 kilometers radius of wherever you are, if you decide to protect yourself enough. But then if you leave your home open to anybody to walk into it, they will come and wake you up from sleep and kill you. But they should never get that close. So I believe if we engage technology, change our approach to fighting what we are fighting, acquire enough technology, and then Nigerians knowing or accepting that we are actually at war. Because when you are at war, gentlemen, war costs money. It's not peanuts. But then if you don't spend that money, how do you make it tomorrow when you are not secured? It is security first, peace, and then progress will follow. So you must spend that money on your security to acquire the necessary equipment. And then you have peace, and then you have progress. So my suggestion will be, go back to the drawing board, change from what we are doing. What we are doing right now is wrong. This is not the best way to win the current war. No, we must change our tactics and then get technology, then make it an all-inclusive approach, where the villager on the road sees something and says something. And then the security agencies can use those intelligence, assimilate them, and then send them out for execution. That's my thoughts.
Fantastic, and I think that's a perfect place for us to end. Retired Air Commodore Balogun, thank you very much for your time. We really do appreciate your insight on this very important topic.